Hey everyone, welcome back to Lifelens Narratives. If you're tuning in for the first time, this channel is all about exploring the ups and downs of life in a way that's real and relatable. We dive into stories that matter, stories that resonate, and stories that remind us we're all in this together. Today we're going to talk about something that affects many people but often stays hidden: panic attacks. So, let's jump into today's story. Facing the Storm, Janet's Journey. Meet Janet. She's a young woman who's got a lot on her plate. She's smart, creative, and funny, but there's this thing that's been hanging over her like a dark cloud: severe panic attacks. It's a medical condition that creeps up on her during the most unexpected times, triggered by stress and everyday situations that most people take for granted. Janet's childhood was pretty normal, aside from the panic disorder. Her parents did everything they could to help her cope, but it was tough. They'd sit with her during her episodes, reminding her to breathe, to focus, and to know she wasn't alone. Still, the panic always felt like a monster lurking in the shadows, ready to pounce. One afternoon, Janet was at a coffee shop, trying to enjoy a simple cup of coffee and some quiet time to work on her writing. She had her laptop open, fingers hovering over the keyboard, but her mind was racing. Suddenly, the cafe felt too crowded, too loud. She could feel the walls closing in on her. Her heart started pounding in her chest, and she tried to remind herself that it was just coffee, just people. But it didn't help. In a matter of seconds, she was in full panic mode. It was like the air had been sucked out of the room. She stumbled out of her chair, knocking her coffee over, and bolted for the door. Outside, she gasped for air, feeling utterly defeated. She found herself sitting on the curb, tears streaming down her face. "I can't keep doing this," she whispered to herself. It was a moment of clarity. She realized she couldn't keep running away from her life. She needed to face it, no matter how scary that felt. That night, she sat down with her parents and told them everything. "I need help," she admitted, her voice trembling. "I can't keep going like this." Her parents listened, their faces filled with concern but also relief. They knew she was ready to take a step toward change. Janet started therapy the following week. It wasn't easy. Talking about her feelings felt like opening a floodgate. She learned about coping mechanisms, breathing techniques, and how to challenge her negative thoughts. She also joined a support group. Sitting in a circle with others who understood her struggle was a game changer. They shared their stories, their fears, and their triumphs. For the first time, Janet didn't feel alone. Over time, Janet began to develop a toolkit for her panic attacks. She learned to recognize the signs before they escalated. When she felt that familiar tightening in her chest, she would pause, take a deep breath, and remind herself that she was safe. She started carrying a small notebook where she jotted down her thoughts and feelings. Writing became a release, a way to process what was happening inside her head. It didn't mean the panic attacks disappeared, they didn't, but Janet was learning to manage them. One day she found herself in a crowded subway, feeling the familiar panic creeping up. Instead of running away, she took a moment to breathe deeply, grounding herself. She pulled out her notebook and wrote down her feelings, channeling her anxiety into words instead. It was a small moment, but it was powerful. Janet realized she wasn't just surviving, she was living. She began to embrace her life, flaws and all. Sure, some days were harder than others, and there were times when the panic still felt overwhelming. But she had skills now, tools to help her navigate the storm. So that's Janet's journey, a testament to resilience and the power of seeking help. It's not about erasing the problem. It's about learning to live with it and finding strength in vulnerability. If you're facing something similar, remember that it's okay to ask for help. You're not alone in this. If you like this story, please give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who might need it, and don't forget to turn on the bell notifications for more content coming your way. Thanks for watching, and take care of yourselves. We appreciate you joining us today on Lifelens Narratives. Remember, every story matters and every voice deserves to be heard. Stay tuned for our next story, where we continue to explore the ups and downs of life together. See you next time. Until then, remember, you are not alone in your struggles, and together we can create a supportive community. Take care. Let's keep the conversation going about mental health and support. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Follow us on social media to join our growing community, and don't forget to share your story. Every voice is important. Together, we can inspire others and remind each other that vulnerability is a strength. Let's continue this journey together. Stay tuned for our next episode where we'll dive deeper into more inspiring stories from real people. We can't wait to share it with you. What topics would you like us to cover next? Your input is invaluable, so drop your suggestions in the comments.